So I just got done ranting with one of my roommates about just how our lives are and how much they kind of suck right now and how they were kind of doomed to suck the whole time and everything that has just kind of failed around us and fucked up, in a way. And I just kind of want to share my thoughts on the only platform that I really have to speak to an anonymous public. So, without further ado, here is why it's so hard to be 20 years old right now. And it all kind of starts because we got a little screwed in high school because the education system, at least in America, is doomed to fail from the very start. Because you have a system that cares more about a letter grade than it does about the development of youth and the actual representation of, what interests a certain child or whatever. We talked about how instead of having specialized classes for different people's interests, at least at our school, they lumped everyone into general, broad classes that no one wanted to take. Instead of, all the sports kids taking a class on sports journalism or sports journalism writing or something like that, they lumped them into English 2 and had them all read To Kill a Mockingbird or whatever. School doesn't work if no one cares. And I feel like it teaches you to not care. It's always the special cases that care. And I feel like you get punished for caring about school when you're in school. You get called a nerd or a geek or a dork, and people make fun of you for caring and putting yourself out there. And I think that's so fucking ass backwards that people will berate others for caring about something. I think that's so insane, and at least I hope that's something that only happens in high school. Or at least it ends when you become an actual adult. You can very well be out of high school and not be a mature adult. But the system is doomed to fail, and it doesn't prep you for the real world at all. The one thing that high school preps you for is an arbitrary test that if you get 30 points or higher on, you might get free college. It's so baffling that your entire future can depend on whether or not you're a good test taker and you get a good ACT or an SAT score. It's so crazy to me that number is what colleges look at when deciding who we're going to let in for free and who we're going to pay thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for something that is not worth the money. But everyone does it anyway because it's the only solution. It's the only path. One number defines thousands of dollars of debt in your future that you may or may not have. And it's just ridiculous. It's so absurd. And in high school, I believe, at least this is my high school experience. I don't know if any other high schools were as cliquey as mine were, but oh my god, my graduating class, there was an unspoken of norm that you don't talk to people that aren't in your friend group, and you don't make new friends after you've solidified friends. And it's terrible. I would be at social events. I had a best friend, and he was cooler than me, quote unquote, because I don't believe that coolness and popularity is actually a thing. I think it's all just made up. He knew more people than I did. The objectively attractive people. He was friends with them. That's what I like to call cool kids. And I would tag along with him sometimes when he was invited to something. And it made me feel really good to be there with new people. But the thing about these cliques is that I would be there and I would try to, talk to people. Very shy kid, very low self-esteem as a child and a teenager. And I'd try to talk to people and I would be ignored. And just no one would talk to me. No one would engage me first because that's just not what happened at my school. And I don't understand why. I don't know why kids were so afraid of talking to other people that they didn't already have like an underlying friendship with or a mutual friendship with. And they had a mutual friendship with me. Some of these people I went to grade school with for 8 years and was friends with. And then in high school, I don't know what happened. And it just furthered the cycle of my low self-esteem and my inability to talk to people and make connections, because every time I would try, I would just be let down and ignored. And that feeling of being ignored and being left out is something that still haunts me to tonight that I'm recording this. I get paranoid that my friends don't actually want to be friends with me all the time. And I have reasons. I have good reasons. And I think it might be true, and it terrifies me. I was really excited to go to a party because I wasted my entire first year of college not meeting new people. Because, long story short, I spent every day in my dorm with my girlfriend. And I didn't branch out. You know? And so it was going to be my first actual college party because classes start on Monday. And I worked a long shift at work. I hated it the entire time. I was 6 hours there this morning. I hated it the whole time. I got off at 6 o'clock. I went home. I showered. I got ready. I was super excited. Party doesn't happen, apparently. I don't know if it did or not. Wasn't asked to go hang out with my friends that were throwing the party. It made me paranoid as shit. And I'm not going to tell them, hey, are we cool? Because that's weird, right? Why would... That's going to backfire on me, and they're going to think, why does he not think we're cool? In my mind. That's the paranoia that's setting in. Fuck, I forgot what I was talking about because I started talking about the goddamn party. Anyway. Fuck, what was I talking about? Hold on, I'm going to pause this and go back. Okay, I was talking about my low fucking self-esteem. I understand now. Okay, sorry. Sorry for the break in the action. But that environment in high school just created a person that I am right now that's been afraid to talk to people out of fear of being rejected as a person. And I feel like that's insane and doesn't exist in the real world. Because at college, people want to meet you too, is the thing. You know, I've seen some of my old high school classmates exactly the same as they were in high school. Really sad to see. But the people you meet at university or college, they're on the same playing field as you. They might not know anyone in town if they're from out of state. They may really want to talk to you, and they might be feeling the same way as you are, scared. And it's like, I don't understand, because of what I went through in high school and how little experience I had actually meeting new people. I don't understand how to do it and how to make genuine human connections that aren't through other people. I don't know how to do it on my own, and I've been trying really hard to, and it's been a struggle for me. I'm not going to lie. It's something I think about constantly, and it's something that I feel like me and my roommate also talked about our adventures on Tinder and how it's just an awful experience for us guys. And the way that the world works now is that in order to hold someone's attention, a new friend, a love interest, anything, in order to hold someone's attention, you have to constantly be holding their attention. With that phone in their hand, and I don't want to sound like an old geezer, because I have stuff to talk about old geezers later, trust me. It's just that with technology and social media and the ease of access now, it's so hard to keep your attention on one thing or one person for more than like a minute, because there's something else in your hand buzzing. And especially, I feel like, for like teenage and college age girls, I'm not calling them out because it's not their fault. They're a product of a system that guys compete in for these women's, you know, what's the word? Ah, fuck, I just had it. It's a competition for their attention. The word is attention. It's a competition for their attention. And every guy is going to willfully compete. Because if this is just speaking from my experience, any straight guy trying to talk to a straight woman with hopes of intimacy or romanticism is going to say yes. If they're interested at all, they're going to say yes. Maybe it's just because I reach up in my interests, in my what I'm attracted to. I'm not the most attractive guy. I have low self-esteem problems, obviously, that I've talked about. That kind of inhibits that as well. And I feel like I'm just going to say yes to whoever says yes to me. And I feel like a lot of guys have the same issue with that. And it just makes it so hard to compete against one another when you're all trying to do the same thing. And it's like there's less choice for guys than there are girls in the current dating scene. And I'm not trying to sound sexist or misogynistic or like an incel or something. But it's not even just with dating. It's like with making friends. You know, if you're not constantly like to the point, I think it's like to the point of bugging someone, it's going to be hard to maintain like a friendly relationship with them because I don't even know. Like if someone stopped talking to me all of a sudden, I would feel like they never wanted to talk to me again. That would be my first thought. I'd be like, oh, okay, they just don't want to be my friend anymore because I have these problems with friends. And that's what my mind would go to. So it's really hard to do your own thing for a little bit and let someone else live their life. And at the same time, continue to build that relationship nowadays. I want to move on from the fucking school thing because that's stupid. I really hate, as a 20 generic age person living in America right now, how half of our country belongs to a political party that the main motive is to stagnate progress. To be conservative is literally, by definition, to not take risks and to play it safe. I think that no matter what political party or ideology, left or right, up or down, you reside in, I think progression and moving forward should always be number one. I feel like as a society, you should always be moving forward. And fucking Australia, on their coat of arms, they have an emu and a kangaroo because they're two animals that cannot physically walk backwards. And the motto in Australia is something along the lines of, don't quote me, move forward, move to the future, keep going, eternity, something like that. And I feel like we're just fucked here in America because the party in charge right now is the stagnation party. And there's always going to be half of America who wants to stagnate. And I feel like I'm going to get some shit for saying this, but it's the geezers. It's the old people that want tradition and they want to keep things the same for the sake of tradition and nothing else. Nothing else. Just because they're so deep-rooted in their own opinions and thoughts and they're not worried about the future because they're not going to have to live in it. It's kind of shitty to say, but they're going to die. So I think it makes sense that they want to stagnate. They want to not have a rough way out. But it's really shitty because they get to make those decisions that impact us, the future, and the people who have to deal with the fucking impacts of the future. And we're getting the raw end of the stick because we're not progressing forward because we're stagnating. And I think it's so frustrating to even think about. It just blows my mind and it makes me want to leave the country. It really does. I want to move somewhere that is going to invest in myself and my children, because I know this country's not, with the education system. Definitely not going to help my kids out at all. They didn't help me. They didn't help any of my friends out. What are they going to change? They're not going to change. That's the whole point. I'm going to move to fucking Australia or Canada or something, somewhere in Europe, very liberal, progressive, because that's just, it makes sense to me. It's logical. You want to move forward as a society. You don't want to fucking stagnate. And this is getting to the point of just a rant about politics, and that's nothing I want to get into. I do not want any political comment. If you make a comment, it's hateful and political, I'm just going to remove it. Don't do it. There's no point. It adds nothing to the conversation. I'm going to stop talking about politics now. I'm sorry I did that. I'm trying to talk about... Well, no, I'm not sorry because it's relevant. It's relevant to how fucking difficult it is to be a millennial or a late Gen Z or whatever we're called in today's day and age because of those reasons. And because people will always... Older generations will always say, we went through the same things that you did. But... And I'm going to be a stereotypical edgy teen and say, Mom, it's different nowadays. But it is. It's always different. Generations are never the same. That's why there's different generations. If it was truly the same, there'd be no gaps. There would be no changes. You know, it's a lot harder to graduate from college debt-free now than it was 30 years ago, just because of the way that it costs to go to school. I have a full ride to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, and I'm spending thousands of dollars still on materials. I spent $11,000 last year to live in the dorms. $11,000 to live on campus. And if you're from not Nebraska, whew, you're paying like $30,000 a year just to go here. It's absolutely goddamn ridiculous. And people expect us to be able to graduate, find a job, maybe move, buy a house. Fuck no. I'm lucky enough to have supportive enough parents that are helping me out in college and helping me out with living space and house issues. And I'm genuinely one of the luckiest people around because nobody else usually gets that help. It's so hard for most other people. And I take it for granted how easy I have it. I honestly do. And this is more of a rant for everyone else than for me in this aspect because I'm fine. I'm not going to be in debt. I've had savings account my whole life. I'm going to be fine. My friends aren't. My roommates sure as hell aren't. They're going to be in debt forever. They're going to be fucked when it comes to, you know, buying a house, getting a job, moving. And it's just ridiculous. And these are things that have all been said before by millions of other people. But I feel like the more people that talk about it and the more people that, you know, raise awareness to the issue that it is to be alive right now. Like, okay, I don't know if it's just my school thing, my city thing. Most people joke about wanting to die nowadays. That's what the cool kids do. They say that they want to fucking die. How is that fucking socially acceptable? How is killing yourself relatable? How is being suicidal a joke? I don't fucking get it. It's disgusting that it exists, and I participated in it. I thought it was funny. Sometimes, nowadays, I still say, you know, that shift at work, I just want to fucking die, man. It's just socially acceptable now. And it proves just how fucked we all are as a generation. We're all just fucked. And there's nothing we can fucking do about it.